Alaska. There are people who, at the last minute, took overnight buses and got on trains and made carpools happen. So for all of you, thank you so much for being here today and making this possible. Now, for those of you that were smart enough or had the initiative enough to actually show up on time here, we're going to have a little fun because we're not kicking this off for the march until 2 p.m. and you're going to get some instructions on that later. But let me just, we're not going to do anything to single out anybody in our crowd who may be on active duty. But I would like a second because we did hear by email that there were going to be several World War II veterans here. Are there any present in the audience who would like to be recognized? Are there any World War II veterans that made it out, maybe not this early? No? All right, do we have any Korean War veterans in the audience? All right, thank you, gentlemen. I see a couple of hands there. Do we have any Vietnam era veterans here today? Do we have any First Gulf War era veterans here today? And last but not least, do we happen to have any veterans of the global war on terror with us today? All right, that was the easy part. What comes next? Is there anybody here representing the Coast Guard today? Oh, come on. There's got to be a few. I saw, were there a couple of hands in the back? They're in the back. Thank you. Well, you know what comes next, right? Is there anybody here, not Department of, but representing the Navy? Thank you. You might not, I don't know, be able to hear this, so listen up really closely, but I know that there are a lot of gentlemen and ladies from the Air Force. And it's not hard to see looking around, we have some Army soldiers represented as well. And I know we're such a small, elite fighting force. In a crowd like this, we might be small in numbers, but can I hear from the Marines here today? Thank you. Well, as I said, the outpouring of support for this event, for making it possible, has just been overwhelming. And I'm not here to speechify myself or to listen to myself talk. The message of this event is simple. Ron Paul is the choice of the troops. And one thing I want you to keep in mind here today, as much fun as we can have, as much community as we can build, as much of a message as we can send, it won't matter if the Republican Party will not listen to the troops. That is the mission. No one lose sight of that. We are here to make sure that Ron Paul is the next Commander-in-Chief of the United States Armed Forces. And it really shouldn't be that hard. This is what I've been saying, and I don't claim to speak for the troops. In fact, in putting this event together, Nathan Cox and I have made it clear, because there is no such organization, Veterans for Ron Paul, there is a Facebook page. There is no hierarchy, there is no organization, and what that means is that it's something that all of you can take and run with and claim and make your own and be present and be a part of the national dialogue as a veteran for Ron Paul. This event is simply by the invitation of Nate and myself, but what I've been saying is that it shouldn't be hard to understand that if you're willing to put your life on the line for this country, you want a commander-in-chief who's going to be decisive. And with Ron Paul, when he gets asked the questions about foreign policy, he knows the answers before the questions are asked. He is decisive beyond a doubt. The second thing we want is a commander-in-chief who's going to put America's security first. Not Israel's, not Iraq's, not Afghanistan's, not trying to police the world, but when we sign up to risk our lives, we do it to defend our fellow Americans. And the third thing that we want in our commander-in-chief is someone who is only going to send us into harm's way with a clear mission, with a declaration of war, as he would call it, with a clear moral imperative, so we can go kill people and blow shit up and win wars like we were trained to. So I hope it's not presumptuous of me to say that there are a few veterans and active duty soldiers that share my sentiments on those points, but I'm really going to leave it at that. I have a few words for the president later, but we have a few gestures for the president later as well. Don't get too excited. You are going to be standing in formation very still for an extended period of time today. But I just want to say that the sentiment that I have seen around this event has been everything that I've hoped it would be. And when the Navy attorney that you probably have all heard of by now came down just last week with a warning telling active duty troops to not participate regardless of whether they're in civilian attire or committing fraud or not, or just speaking their mind, or whether they are compelled enough to be here. I know there are people in the crowd today who said, screw that. We just drew the line in the sand, and we know what side we're on, and we're going to be marching for Ron Paul no matter what you say. Having heard that, the sentiment that has come out, the reaction has just been everything I could possibly have hoped it would be, and if anything, it has given me all the more courage to be here. So we have an incredible lineup of speakers because they are the ones that have invested the most in this event. We have some of the organizers of this event that you're going to hear from, but really these are the winners of the YouTube video contest. These are the people that actually helped get the word out. A lot of you are here because of the people you're about to hear from. So without further ado, I don't have thorough introductions for all of these speakers, as you might imagine. And our first one would prefer not to be identified by last name, so I'll just bring up Matt, who you might know from YouTube as Project Deep Cover. All right.
A brave man once stood in this land that you're standing on right now. His name was George Washington, our first commander-in-chief. On March 23rd, 1755, in Virginia, he echoed Patrick Henry and shouted, "Give me liberty or give me death." I stand here today on the same land that George Washington stood, and I echo his words, "Give me liberty or give me death." Some in the media seem to think we don't exist. Well, I brought them a message. I'm an Army veteran, and I support Ron Paul. My father's a Marine, and he supports Ron Paul. My son's active duty in the Navy, and he supports Ron Paul. My younger son, ROTC, just cast his first vote in high school for Ron Paul in the Florida primary. No problem. Patrick Henry said that the Constitution wasn't an instrument for the government to contain the people, that it was an instrument for the people to contain the government. And I have a message for Obama. Ron Paul is coming.
Amen.
Now, every single one of you out there probably took the same oath I did. You vowed to defend the Constitution, foreign and domestic.
That's right.
I stand here before you and the country and tell you I will never betray my fellow citizens and break my oath.
Amen. God bless you. God's faith. Here, here.
Ladies and gentlemen, now that you can hear us a little clearer, is that better? Our next speaker is Robert Sinclair Tesh.
Hey! How you guys doing? All right. Hey, thanks to the internet we're all here, and thanks to the internet we're at the dawn of a new age of enlightenment. We are the information generation and we are changing things. Collectively we stopped SOPA and PIPA. Collectively we're gonna end the Fed. And collectively we're gonna elect Ron Paul president. Let me tell you, this is the most excited I've ever been about politics. I've never been to Washington, D.C. before. This is amazing. I'm so glad to see you guys all out here and that you're all listening to me. It's awesome. Awesome. And you know, a lot of people are really wary about a candidate promising so much change now that we're at the anticlimax of the Obama presidency. But you know what? I've got hopes for Ron Paul. I'm not really worried about Obama. He promised he'd close Gitmo. Instead, he authorized indefinite detention. Yeah, not cool. So GM got bailed out. Detroit got sold out. I'm from Michigan, and I see it firsthand. What he's saying in those debates is not true. Detroit is crumbling. It's crumbling, and it needs to change. But I have faith in Ron Paul. And I trust Dr. Paul when he says he'll put an end to this subversive political system that's dominated since the end of World War II. This is America, and we've always been taught that we're the good guys. Now, post 9/11 America has drawn far too many parallels to oppressive foreign regimes. There are over 1 million people currently incarcerated in American prisons, many of whom are not even American citizens. We've privatized jails with judges profiting from the sentences they hand down. This is not the American way. This is not what we've been taught. And the American dream is not dead. And with our help, I believe Ron Paul can revitalize that dream. Big shout out to the 785th Military Police Battalion currently deployed to Afghanistan. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker, you might know from YouTube as token libertarian girl, Julie Borowski.
My name's Julie Borowski. It's an honor to be here today. First of all, I want to thank all the veterans and active duty military in the audience for their service. I also want to thank them for showing up despite all the scare tactics and threats that they received. It is absolutely ridiculous that our military of all people are denied free speech rights. Seeing all of you here today gives me so much hope. Ron Paul supporters are the most passionate and the most intelligent supporters out there. principled. There's this beautiful sense of community among Ron Paul supporters, which I find absolutely amazing. But we're in trouble here in this nation. We have an arrogant leader in the White House who has zero respect for the Constitution. Obama ran on an anti-war platform in 2008, and when he got into office, he went completely the other way. The Nobel Peace Prize winner has only expanded the wars. Obama is worse than George W. Bush. There was an anti-war movement during the George W. Bush administration. It is almost completely gone except for you guys. We know that unconstitutional wars are wrong, no matter if it's a Republican or a Democrat in office.
There it is.
The rest of the Republican candidates are pro-war. A vote for Santorum is a vote for war in Iran. We do not need another undeclared unconstitutional war. They lied about Iraq and they're lying about Iran. Ron Paul is our only hope. He believes in a non-interventionist foreign policy, staying out of the internal affairs of other nations. It's too complicated and it only leads to unintended consequences. I am not a pacifist. I believe war is the last resort and should be only used for self-defense. But these current wars are not for self-defense. They're unconstitutional and undeclared. They cost us too much lives and too much money, and they should end immediately. The mainstream media likes to lie about us. They like to call us crazy and loons. They do this because they are scared of us. It scares the crap out of them that this revolution is growing in numbers and influence. But you cannot stop an idea that has come. The media says we are part of the Blame America crowd, but I do not blame the American people. I blame the politicians who have got us into this mess. The concept of blowback is real. You cannot go into other countries and kill innocent children and expect not to face the consequences.
That's right.
This only breeds more terrorism. War makes us less safe. Ron Paul is the choice of the troops. He has received more donations from active duty military than all of the other candidates combined. If we really want to thank and honor the troops, it's time to bring them home. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jared Laureano, Iraq.
Hurrah, brother! My name is Jared Laureano, and I'm a veteran. I served in the United States Marine Corps as a combat engineer. During my enlistment, I did 2 deployments, Fallujah and Ramadi. I never knew if my next step was going to be on an IED or in the crosshairs of a sniper. I did my duty, I served my country, I did my time, and I did not complain. We've been fighting all these wars unconstitutionally, a multitude, launching SWAT-like assaults on the basis of assumption. But no longer. We're no longer going to watch these warmongering neocons try to pull us into another. We're not going to Iraq. We should fight for this country and to defend this country, not to democratize another. Over time, journalistic integrity that we relied on in this country has been lost. Our watchdog has become a lapdog. The media has become the puppet of the industry, manipulating public interest to move society towards a state of sublime idiocy. But we're not dumb. None of us are. That's why we're here. All of us. We as veterans and concerned citizens cannot let this happen. We had to speak the truth. We have the resources, such as the internet, to publicize and organize.
Amen.
The truth that Ron Paul is a candidate of conviction, honor, and integrity. He's the only one that can stand toe-to-toe with Obama and win. He's going to fight for the continued prosperity of his glorious nation. We all know how bad it is right now. You come home to citizens who don't care as long as no one touches their smartphone, HD TV, or laptop. No one seems to notice about the ridiculous spending or care or even mind about the mass amounts of money poured into foreign aid. Most importantly, our brothers and sisters who are dying overseas. I, for one, I'm fed up. I'm tired. Okay, you know? Today we show America that we want change. Legitimate change. We won't back down! We show America that we just need them to listen. Listen to their veterans who have fought and lost their friends under this country's flag. Listen to the servicemen who have lost their homes while bankers were handing out bonus checks. I ask everyone here to spread your story. Go and tell another American why you're voting for liberty. All tyranny needs is for our voice to be silent. And I'm going to leave you guys with a quote. It's one of my favorites. Ronald Reagan on Veterans Day, 1985. Sometime back, I received in the name of our country the bodies of 4 Marines who died while on active duty. I said there was a special sadness that accompanies the death of a serviceman, for we're never quite good enough for them, not really. Because we can't be. Because they gave us what is beyond our powers to repay. And so when a serviceman dies, it's a tear in the fabric, a break in the whole, and all we can do is remember. Today we do more than remember. Today we make the country know that we want change. That's why we're voting for Ron Paul.
For those of you that were keeping track of the video contest, you might have noticed one interesting standout late entry that from a gentleman who parked the domain veteransforronpaul.com and then put the sticker with that URL on the side of his car and had it redirect to his video while he drove across the country, winning his spot to speak today.
All right.
He's an old Marine major, and I told him you could tell just by looking at him from the mustache and the haircut and the leather jacket that he was a Marine major. He tells me he was a Mustang, but we'll just have to take his word for it for now. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Motley.
All right. All right.
Wow. I was not expected to speak today. I didn't think I was going to have a speaking spot because I was 10 days late in getting the video out, but I guess it's got some notoriety. I guess there's about over 2,000 views on it, and I'm really proud of that. But several weeks ago when I heard Adam mention that there was going to be this rally and this contest, I knew I had to do something a little different. Now, I already had the domain name veteransforronpaul.com. I don't know how I got that and you guys didn't, but I guess it was the luck of the draw. But I wanted to do a little something different, so I took one of my cars and I put the Veterans for Ron Paul down on the bottom and on the back and on the front. And got some cool looking pictures of Ron Paul on there. And then if you saw my video, you probably saw me show this little card that I made up. You know, a little card says Veterans for Ron Paul. It's got my name on it, USMC retired. And I've been handing these suckers out all over the country. Everywhere I go, everybody I see, I just hand them one and I say, check out the site. You know, Edmund Burke said years ago, the only thing needed for evil to flourish is for good men and women to do nothing. And obviously, you are good men and women and you're doing something.
All right.
We're making a real statement here. And you know, I say it in my video, but I say it every time I talk to people. Don't let anybody tell you that Ron Paul does not have a chance of winning this GOP nomination. He does.
He sure does.
And we know about the media. We know what the media's doing.
Yeah.
But the more success he has and the more outpouring of support like we see here, the more media time he's going to get. Now, you know, I'm ashamed to admit it, but in 2008, I actually voted for Barack Obama. Yeah, you know, I was born and raised ultra-wing conservative like many of you, but I broke ranks. I voted for Obama because he made us a promise, didn't he?
Yeah.
He said he was going to bring all the troops home from Iraq and Afghanistan.
Right.
Well, we know what happened.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And we know this president has released more cruise missiles than any president in history. And he also won a Nobel Peace Prize. I don't understand. But, yeah.
You know, them
But anyway, I'm very proud to be here today and to have been given a few minutes to speak to you guys. And I'm looking forward to marching on that White House with every one of you, and we're going to make a statement. Ron Paul 2012.
Yeah!
Obviously, we're having a bit of a challenge here with the sound, so I would ask for just a little bit of patience if you don't mind. And what we're going to do is make a couple of announcements here while we're playing. Did that do it? No? Do we still have that we still got the interference? All right, so
That microphone.
I'd like to thank one of our sponsors. While I'm doing this, I'll keep your attention as I slyly try to remove the tape from the microphone and distract you with my voice so no one notices what's going on. All right, no one pay attention to what's going on in my